Hey guys.
Hey,
Oh, here we are. Episode number
this
3.
is three.
Yeah. Feels like 500. I think we were talking to Adam the other day and it was funny. It's like there's a lot of work involved in these. But tonight we're going to talk about, has the tip already come in and they've lost it, or it got misdirected or misfiled? So with that, we'll be right back. There we are.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. So again, I think some people are joining right now. You might want to give them a second. Jennifer is a little bit worried about her teeth. You want to tell them?
So, old people problems. I
No.
started grinding my teeth, and apparently, that means at times on some people, it's because your teeth are misaligned. So, they told me I needed Invisalign. So now I sound weird. So, I told him, I said, I just started a podcast. He said, well, you can take them out, but how long is the podcast? I said, well, sometimes 3 hours. He goes, no, you need to keep them in. So I'm just going to have to get used to talking a little weirdly with stuff on my teeth.
I don't
But
notice a difference, and you guys can tell us if you notice a difference, but I certainly
well,
I don't hear a
good. Well, they're
difference. And I think I
in.
would know. I
I
mean,
think you're just being nice. But
we've
anyway,
been married over
thanks
a
for the
year now.
patience. Over a year, almost 30. What are we, 27 years
Oh,
almost?
yeah,
Yeah.
26.
It's
Well, we've
been
known
a
each other
while.
longer
Been a
than that,
minute.
but yeah.
But thank you all for joining us. And we thank you guys so much for supporting our channel. Like and subscribe and share it. Any of that it really helps us out, get going here. But Glenn has been researching this topic for tonight on the tip line issue. And this is for Pima County, FBI. I think a lot of us have been wondering, how many tips have they gotten? Are they continuing to still get tips? And how are they processing it all? And
It blows
so
my mind.
he did some research on this over the last few days and beyond, and he wanted to present it tonight. So, hey, Adam. Hey, everybody. I'm seeing some very familiar names. Cindy Lou, Major Rammer Jammer. I really
The Rammer
appreciate you
Jammer.
guys. As far as I
Hey,
can see,
Adam.
my eyes are still focusing. So, anyway, tell us what you found
Hey,
because this
real
is,
quick, if you
oh,
guys ever want to watch some really cool barbecue videos, go over to Patriot Prides and go to their recorded stuff. And I think it was back in October. There's some really cool.
he was binge
I mean,
watching.
he does one where he's 28, 29 hours, but it's a 40-minute video because the way he clips it, it was changed my way. I'm going to do my next one for
Adam
sure.
and my brother-in-law
Oh
and
God, yeah.
Glenn and my oldest son who put the time into this kind of stuff is amazing to me because sometimes you guys are getting up at like 4 a.m. to like,
Well, not anymore. I don't do that. Yeah. I mean, we
well,
have a
you and
major
Aaron
smoker,
used
but
to, yeah.
I've got a pellet grill now. That's kind of my, throw it on there, set it, forget it kind of a deal. And it's not the same
But the
as an offset
patience,
or any of that by any stretch, but it's good
yeah,
enough right now.
the
So,
patience you guys put into that kind of stuff is amazing. So Adam, yes, he was binge watching your
yeah.
videos. So tell us
Yeah.
all about this. This is like
Well, I was blown away.
crazy.
It may be completely boring to everybody else, but I'm always looking for, how is it not solved yet when we have a video of the person we're pretty sure had at least something to do with it. There's blood evidence from the victim, not the perp, so to speak, but we think there's DNA, whatever happened to that. The letters, the ransom letters are real, they're not real, they're real. Well, I keep saying they are real. They are real letters. They're tangible, real emails, letters, whatever. It's whether they're connected to the actual person that is responsible or not. I don't think that matters. I think that,
Well, I think opposite of you though. I think in a different way on
are
the
we going to
real.
arm wrestle in front
No,
of
we're
me?
not.
God.
What do we always say? We're not yelling. This is just how we talk.
Yeah, we're the, I don't know if we're allowed to say it, but people call us the Costanzas
Goose
because
people.
offline,
Or
I think
sons.
we're pretty
Yes.
hilarious.
Well,
Not on
anyway,
purpose, is unfortunate.
my thought on the ransoms before you get into yours is
Yeah,
I have a feeling they could be from the real perpetrators, but not real in context.
right.
Like they could be just a smokescreen. That's the way I
Oh,
look
well,
at it.
yeah, I know
But
I've heard that before. That I don't know about any of that. I'm just saying that they are real letters that somebody sent in. So whoever sent them in is a criminal, period.
it's very
Whether they're the criminal that is the reason that we're missing Miss Guthrie, I can't answer that. No one can definitely answer that, but that's what we want to get to the bottom
right.
of, right?
Right.
So, but we're going to try to wrap this up. We're not doing a 5-hour episode tonight or 4. We
No, because we want to watch
we got
Patriot
things to
Pride
do,
too.
which is watch Adam and Mike tonight. So we're real excited to do that
Yeah.
later. But anyway, tonight's show is really about the tip line problem. And I say problem, I'm not saying that Pima County Sheriff's Department or the FBI are doing anything wrong. I think this is the way things are done. If Brian, the retired M, how do you say,
Homicide detective.
homicide detective.
You gotta tell
He
him
would have
yourself.
things to say about this, and I specifically didn't ask him about any of this because I went and did my own deep dive research. I don't know, this is what you can find online. Anyone can find this information. It's just about spending the time. And then when you get one answer or one question answered, it brings you to another one like it does. But the tip line problem, let me just set this up a little bit before we talk about whether a tip was missed. Let's look at the scale of what investigators are dealing with.
This is what was blowing me away, what you were talking about. This is
Yeah, I was just looking for, you do show prep and try to figure out things that are interesting to talk about. And I thought, well, this is kind of a boring thing, the tip line. Who
I
cares?
don't think it is. Like when you posed the question to me, I was like,
Yeah.
a lot of us have been asking that. Are
Well,
they
I said,
still
do you think
coming
this is
in? Have
interesting?
they-
Because I thought it was. And then you were like, no, that's not true. And it blew both our minds, I
Yeah.
guess. So real quick, the numbers. Now, the problem with the numbers is all we have is prior to February 25th. And you'll learn why that's an important
Okay.
date in a minute. And a lot of people probably just went, I know what February 25th was. But
I don't know that I remember.
so PCSO, Pima County Sheriff's Office. I'm not sure it's easier to say PCSO, but Pima County, the Sheriff's Department, the number they released was 18,000 tip line calls. That's publicly reported. And that was mid-February.
Okay.
So now they're saying 4,000 came in during a 24-hour surge.
4,000?
Yeah, and that was after the we call him porch guy, right?
Yeah.
The masked. I want to read that because that was funny to me. What do they call him? Do you see it up there?
Oh yeah, masked individual.
24-hour surge after the mass suspect imagery was released.
Suspect imagery. Okay.
Let's get it right. Porch guy video was released. They received additional 4,000 tips in that 24-hour period, which was actually less than 24 hours because they released it in the afternoon and they calculated by the next morning. But whatever.
So that was February 25th. They got when Savannah said we're giving $1 million.
No. No, that's different. So the 18,000 is the sheriff's department specifically, and then they said another 4,000 just from porch guy video. So, at this volume, how do investigators make sure the one useful call is recognized? Now, the FBI numbers, and again, I don't want to bore anybody. Let's get through that pretty quick. They didn't say 18,000. They said 13,000 plus. So whatever that means. Now, it went up to 22,000, and they reported that again on February 12th. And then it went to 23.5, which is what you were just talking about, on the eve of February 24th through the February 25th date, because the family came forward with $1 million reward money, leading to the arrest and conviction of whoever. So that was 1,500 people over a 24-hour period from the reward. So 4,000 from the porch guy video, 1,500 to the FBI. So on February 25th, the FBI reported that it received 22,000 tips. Like, that's important because we have no data beyond February 25th. Do I sound like Nancy Grace when I do it that way? We have no data beyond February 25th. wrong screen. So I think that's a problem.
I'm kind of perplexed. So I guess the part that I'm perplexed about is, okay, so you would think that that would be exciting. Like we're getting 4,000 tips in a 24-hour period, and then we got another, what was it, 1,200?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
1,500.
Oh, 15. Well, whatever. That's
Yeah.
a lot of
more than 1,000.
I mean, 1,500 tips in one night, and the 4,000 tips that came in after showing the video.
Yeah.
Right. I think at least I was asking, and I think I even put that in one of the chats, was to like Chris McDonough or something, was how many people are on it in the police department or at the FBI? Like, is it, I mean, I'm picturing it
Yeah, that's
as
a
I
good
have a
point.
list. I'm picturing it like the Jerry Lewis telethon, like all these people picking up phones. Like, but did it kind of break it down? Is it email? Is it phone calls? Or is that all encompassing? Hey, Alex just joined. Hey,
Yeah,
Alex.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Thank you so
Jen.
much for stopping by. We really appreciate it.
But
Yeah,
back to the Pima County
so
Sheriff's
you don't know
Office.
whether is it all encompassing? Is it phone calls, or they didn't break it
Well,
down?
we'll talk about that's what was interesting to me also is where the tips are generated or where they come in from, where they're received from.
Okay.
But real quick, the PCSO, Pima County Sheriff's Office numbers, and what we don't know, like 18,000 calls. Okay, that was back at the beginning of this thing and at the end of February 25th.
Which is a lot of freaking calls.
Oh my gosh. How many that was 1 month, basically, not even. Now it's been over 4 months longer, and we don't have any update on how many more there are. And why is that important? Well, why are they not telling us? That's blowing my mind.
That was blowing my mind.
Are they so overwhelmed and they don't want to tell us and lose public confidence? I don't know. But anyway, those were mid-February numbers. 4,000 we know came in a 24-hour period after the porch guide. We don't add those numbers together. We don't add FBI numbers plus the sheriff numbers and get that 40,000 number, although it probably is higher than that now. But you can't, because people call in both lines, or there's 4 doors we'll talk about in a minute.
So what you're saying is the neighbor Mary, we'll just call her Mary. Mary calls Pima County, then she calls FBI.
Goes online.
So a lot of these tips, like when we say FBI got this many, Pima County got this many, it could be duplicates of the same tip, is what you're saying.
That's exactly right.
All right.
And how are they communicating with each other? We don't know. So listen, months later, here we are, months later, and it's just so ridiculous. Months later, wow. We still don't have a newer public cumulative number. So we don't know what the total is now. It could be 100,000. I don't think it's that high, but have they gone through? Are they going through? Are they caught up? We don't know. Well, so I think that's a problem.
Didn't you find out that they're no longer reporting it and people have asked?
Yeah, there's been some, I haven't found any of those reports. I just saw a couple little blurbs, if you will, online saying that they've been asked by some of the major news people that we know.
Okay.
And they've not come out and said, we're not telling you. They don't answer the question. They just go back to, well, there was 18,000 and 23,500 from the FBI. And those were after the porch guy video, after they released some evidence that we were kind of shocked at. And then after the $1 million went to, or 200,000 went to 1.2 million. They think those are like things that should have, that's when we talk about how many tips, because these major events happened. Nothing's majors happened. So why do you want to talk about tips? Well, because people are still calling in.
So they're dodging questions when people ask, how many tips do you have? And
right. So I think they're forgetting is this is a different era that we're in. We're all watching it. There's YouTubers now. So there's some major channels with millions of followers. The one I watched today was 11 million followers. So when she gets on there and starts talking about Nancy Guthrie, there's 11 million people that may not watch live because hers is actually recorded. But over the next few months, they're probably going to see these episodes.
Okay.
So it's different now.
Hold on, pause. TJ Wheeler said, someone said they submitted a tip in late February and wasn't contacted back until about late June. I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, that's a little scary. I mean, there's people out there that aren't sure whether this was, I think most of us are pretty sure this is a targeted attack, but let's just say that it's some, nutcase running around Tucson, and someone may have had a viable tip in February and they weren't contacted until June, 4 months later.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so that's
I
why
didn't
you
even
wanted to bring
want to.
attention to
This would
this.
be a
All right.
5-hour show if we talked about how these tips are actually. I'm going to get into a little bit. I mean, my question is, how many have they received now? We don't know. How many remain open?
Because
We
they're
don't
dodging
know.
questions
How
about.
many are generated? How many have been generated recently versus are old now? How many duplicates, which we'll talk about in a minute, because and how many have been closed? Like if they have 40,000, we can say 30,000 have been closed. We don't know. And I'm telling you,
Okay.
does the public help solve these cases? More times than not, it's the public intervention to what the police are already doing. And listen, the police are well capable in most
I mean,
departments, and I'm not saying they're not in this one either.
that's a pretty a pretty viable statistic that you can look up and get proof on, that the public's help is, I would say, a huge percentage of how
Right.
cases get
If
solved.
they didn't, they wouldn't have like these, for example. The 88 crime phone number, that's national. It's been around forever. Whenever there's an issue, we get reminded about the FBI phone, FBI online. 88 crime's always there. And then we get reminded when something happens that Pima County Sheriff's Department, oh, that one's department instead of office, their phone number. And those are real phone numbers up on the screen right now. Those are what they consider the 4 doors. Those are the public way of communicating with law enforcement about things they've witnessed, specific crimes. So they'll remind us. So they've reminded us over and over, call in your tips. Anything you think is small, don't worry, call it in, which that narrative's changed a little bit recently with Pima County Sheriff Nanos. So literally, we're just going to talk about real quick what happened. So if information enters through different systems, my question would be, how is it deconflicted? It's a new word I learned today, and I like it.
Deconflicted?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Deconflicted. And I think what that means, well, what I want it to mean is, how are we making sure it's not the same one that was received on other means? It didn't get put on the 88 crimes someone called in and then went FBI online, which is tips.fbi.gov for those that are listening and not watching. Which, thank you for pointing that out earlier. I was like, I'm not going to read this to them. You're like, what about people that are listening in their car or whatever, like we do?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
like
tips.fbi.gov. If you
Doug
know
just
anything.
said, safe to say the number of tips is at least 45,000 tips. Amongst these tips, there will be a pyramid of priority and credibility, and how many of these tips are at the top, middle, or bottom of the pyramid. That's exactly right. And when he brought this up, I said, that's what I'm worried about. Like, how many of these tips are actually valuable, or how many of them are like, I had a dream last night and I'm pretty sure that I know that Nancy's under the Sahara with the, 3 arms. That's my country accent.
Wow, Jen, way to make it sound like we're in the
I'm
Ozarks.
glad they can't see my face when I'm doing it. You don't have our face up right now. So anyway, I'm just worried. I'm
Yeah.
worried that these tips are coming from, like, what kind of tips? So
Well, again, they come in through these 4 ways. Now, also, people will go up to a police officer who has nothing to do with the case, isn't even briefed on it daily, like the ones that are on the team are. They'll come up to, just a police deputy or a sheriff's deputy or a police officer and tell them what they think. Now, is that a tip? And does he write it down? And has that happened? And they never got back to the office with it? Or, you know what I mean? Because people feel like if you've told the police at the Walmart, that's good enough. So again, how are we getting all these leads in?
So those 4 doors are interesting.
Right.
Even Patricia said the same thing. It's like, there's people down there that need to be alerted if there's, something going on. And it's not like, this is Mayberry and, there's nothing that happens in Tucson. We all know that it's not exactly getting the reputation of the safest place right now.
Right.
So,
but again, deconflicted.
Okay.
There'll be a test later. So how do they do that? When they have all these leads, how do they make sure that they're not the same lead from February 5th that somebody else called in, or the same person, like we were talking earlier, called in on February 28th?
Yeah.
So I don't know. They have to have a system for that, I would imagine. So, but getting the information into the system is only step 1. The next problem is separating the noise from the true signals.
Okay.
So when you look at this, I mean, these are really easy. This is 3rd grade level, folks. So
So
Even I can
vehicle
understand
leads,
this. Yeah.
firsthand witness info, specific times or places, photos, videos, receipts, named people, vehicles, locations, and then noise.
Right.
We hope y'all are doing what you can for Miss Guthrie.
So if you
And
go
then
on and learn,
personal message, yeah. Case theories and duplicates or vague tips. See, I have a feeling they're getting.
duplicates
I feel
again.
like case theories is at the top of the list of noise, and duplicates or
Right.
vague tips. I mean, I can see. I'll be honest with you. If it was me, and I don't know if we can go back to our faces so people can see us talking, but
That's impossible.
that's impossible.
Oh, there we are.
I feel like if it was me, if I didn't get an answer or get a call back, say I call Pima County first, I would be pissed. And then I would be like, well, screw Pima County. Then I'm calling FBI. So there's the duplicate. And then I would think that there would be a lot of people that are like, well, I called. Did they even get my message?
Yeah. How do you
So
know?
now I'm emailing, I mean, I can see this becoming a major problem.
Well, what's interesting though is that what you were just reading, this firsthand witness side versus the well wishes. So the two sides, the left side it says useful leads, those are considered high value information. These
Okay.
are FBI police terms. I'm sure not every department uses it, but a lot of them they call it high value information versus low value information. Now, the high value information is usually lower volume. So it's high value, low
Look over here. I'm
volume.
just looking at his graphic over here so I can read it better.
Well, we're not looking at us now.
Oh, okay.
I've hidden you.
Oh, okay.
So the low value obviously is going to be high volume. So there's value versus volume. So the high value is, yes, when people call in and say, I have a firsthand observation, they have a cell phone video, specific times, maybe a clip off their video camera at their porch, they'd actually have a name of a person especially, but a vehicle and a location is a big thing. People, vehicle, location, and it can be corroborated. That's high value. Low value obviously is what Jennifer corroborated. There's an R in there.
Yeah,
put that in there.
Corroborated.
Now
it is a mouthful.
The low value obviously is what you were talking about. It's vague theories. I saw.
You saw what?
I saw what are the birds that eat things that circle?
Oh, like hawks?
Yeah, I'm getting older. You got to remind me of this stuff. No.
What?
We have them all over the hot tub area. Yeah, buzzard. They saw buzzards flying around 5th and Main. Is that a high value or a low value? And who's making those decisions is the big thing, because we know that within a department, people that are put in charge of these things. So you want
my country accent? So you're
saying all the best, but those are low value. So no identifiable source, whatever. So yeah, what were you
saying that Bobby Joe down the road says, I seen them buzzards over there and they're causing problems. Good at that. And
not attractive.
It's not attractive.
No, I love it. Is that
what you're saying though?
We're living the Ozarks, Jen. We're lucky we have all of our teeth still.
Hey, that was the thing. I remember my grandpa saying, we're really lucky we have all of our teeth. And I went, what is that? What the heck does that mean? So yeah, no, you're right. We are lucky.
So I guess the question that this brought up for me is what happens when there's thousands and thousands, in fact, most of the leads that are coming in are low value and it's consuming the system. Meanwhile, the lead that could break the case is sitting there on, the proverbial desk of somewhere, a desk sergeant or something, and hasn't been handed out properly. Or
I'll be honest with you, that's kind of terrifying.
Scary, yeah.
And especially since now we know of somebody that knows somebody that did call in and didn't hear back for freaking 5 months. So it's like, how far through the deck are they of tips? And could the tip,
well, like the other night,
in there still?
A few of you tuned in. When was that? Saturday night? When were we on?
Well, we were on Monday.
Monday night. God,
we're already losing track of time.
So busy today.
2 days ago.
Monday night, we did the Springfield 3 episode. We figured it was a good night to do that. Monday, introduce people to it. We want to do more on that case because Jennifer will talk about this in a minute. We received some very crazy things after that episode. It is definitely worth talking more about that. But hi, Stacy, if you're watching, that was awesome.
Yeah. If
people are coming out of the woodworks now going, I do know something, not to solve the case, but memories and things and what could be considered a tip.
Some of them
So
gave me some details and said that they would email me later. So that's really
we
interesting.
gave us chills. Like,
Yeah.
what? Why weren't
Like
you saying
somebody knows
anything
something.
34 years
So,
ago? And it's like because they had recessed memories. I don't know. But
yeah.
anyway, this kind of reminded me of some of that. What happened back then is that people were calling in, and it's documented. They had dropped calls and they didn't call back. And these people were saying, I know what the deal is. So
Well,
mistakes happen.
after us reading that on this, because that was actually an America's Most Wanted. Somebody called in, gave a very specific detail that somebody thought was really important and tried to connect them to a deputy that was there ready to take calls or an investigator. And the call got disconnected, like by America's Most Wanted phone. Like something happened and the person didn't call back. And when you and I were talking about it, it's like, I mean, why didn't they call back? And I said, because maybe they got up the guts to call. And when it was disconnected, they were like, you know what? It's just not worth it. It's a sign. I shouldn't be calling. So I think the fear is, especially with this case, is, Pima County and specifically the Catalina foothills. What some of you may not know is that my grandparents' house was about I
Yeah.
mapped it. It was 7 minutes from Nancy Guthrie's house. So I'm very familiar with the Catalina foothills. I went up and down Campbell Avenue many times and Sunrise Drive, and
She remembers Tucson. So she sees these videos and
oh,
stuff online. She's like, oh, I used to
it
go
makes me
there.
so sad. Like,
Ugh.
my grandparents went to St. Thomas Church when they were having mass in the little
I
school.
think it was a nicer place back then. This was
I,
what, in
I'm
the 80s? When was this?
Yeah, I mean, well, 90s, late 80s and
90s.
90s. And I mean,
Mm.
I went to Hidden Valley Inn restaurant down there in Green Valley. We went to, Old Tucson, and
Oh, man.
DeGrazia's studio is right up from Nancy Guthrie's. I actually got to meet DeGrazia. So I feel like, uh, in a way, it was like a second home to me. So hearing that something happened to somebody that was like my grandparents' age at the time when I was younger, um, this makes me ill. I mean,
Yeah.
it literally makes me ill. And
Well,
the fact
yeah.
that somebody, say it's an elderly friend, say it's an elderly neighbor
Yeah, we
that
all
is
have that.
also scared for her life. Maybe she's also living alone, but knows something and wants to turn in the tip. But even family could be discouraging, as we've heard through so many cases that you and I have been reading over the last month of people that were terrified to turn in a tip simply because they were
Yeah.
afraid that they would be a target of the person that was the perpetrator.
Right.
So,
You're nervous that they're going to come
right.
after you.
So for some of these
So,
people, it's a last chance, or last chance fancy, don't let me down. And they possibly haven't even gotten to it. That's
well,
crazy.
yeah. And that's what I want to go over real quick. I don't want to,
I'm sorry, I'm
talk
going
about.
on.
No, that's exactly. I was just blown away today when I was reading. The tips are probably in that solve this case, but who knows if somebody just said on here, well, hopefully the police, are good enough to manage this.
Right.
Yes, I hope that's the case. But with the sheer volume, nobody can blame them if they're not done going through all of them yet. And plus, they get new ones probably every day, I would imagine. I don't know. But from
Well,
intake to
they're-
investigation,
They're dodging questions about the
yeah, why aren't they answering? I mean, we all
Okay,
keep
wait a
saying
minute.
there's 30,000, leads or whatever. That was February 25th that we got those numbers.
So let me play
So I hope they've gone down.
let me play devil's advocate for a second. Let me ask. Do you think that
Are you
there's
going to put me on the spot? I don't know. Maybe we're going to
Well,
look stupid.
if you don't know, then you don't know. There's no stupid answers, no stupid questions.
Okay.
So my question would be, let's just why would they be dodging questions or dodging questions about the tip line and about the tips unless
You know
just
why?
throwing this out there, what if they already have the guy? And what if they're saying we only want quality tips? Because didn't you say that they literally made a question
Well,
or
Sheriff
a statement
Nanos has
about that?
requested that please send in your tips. And we don't want to say on our show that you should not call in or go online.
And if you guys have questions in here or comments, we'll read it at the end. I promise you, because there's not that many people here.
Yeah.
So we'll have time.
Well, there is a lot of people here now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
You're in triple digits, young lady.
Okay,
You better watch what you say.
Well, good. Well, I just, because I don't have my readers on, so I'll look at it in a minute. But
Huh?
why is that always funny to you? If I say I can't see something,
You can't
act
see,
like
I
I'm
can't
deaf.
hear. I don't
All
know.
right.
But I totally can hear and see. So
Cool.
got my contacts in.
We're letting people into why our child doesn't want to be around us.
Yeah.
Did we embarrass you, Landon?
He's our moderator.
Okay. Landon is modding again tonight. Thank you, Landon.
So real
go ahead.
quick, I just want to talk about this. This is mind blowing too. Is that what it takes when a lead comes in,
Right.
tip, whatever you want to call it, comes in, phone, internet, whatever. What's the process? So this is what I learned. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know, but this is what's the FBI claims.
Someone says that Nanos was encouraging more tips.
Yeah, he wants everyone to call in, but what he was saying was he wants people that have tips such as location and a person. He wants a person or a place is what he's looking for
Not
now.
an idea or a
not
dream.
any someone who knows someone who's a psychic. Those are what bogged the system down.
Okay.
But they're very careful to always say, don't ever limit what you think's important or not. You just need to call it in.
Remind me to tell you remind me about the psychic thing. I have something.
But know that when you call it in,
right,
there's a process and it's not easy.
Well, I guess I knew that there was a process. I just thought it was very efficient. And what it's sounding like is it could be freaking 4 months before somebody hears back about, by the way, there was a guy. Well, he was here, but it's been 4 months. Like, what? That's really crazy. All right.
Anyway.
I'm sorry. I'm interrupting. Go ahead.
So intake to investigation. How does a lead come in? How does it end up going out the other end where boots are on the ground? So first they receive it and document it. So you call in your tip. Within minutes, they're capturing it, whether electronically or handwritten. If it's a cop at Walmart, he hopefully writes it down, whatever. The first thing they're going to try to do is capture the submitter's information when it's available. So they're not going to be, unless you call 88-CRIME.
Which is anonymous.
It's supposed to be anonymous. The other methods, they may know who you are, or they're going to ask either way, though.
I still think they know who
So they want to know what the allegation is, the dates, places, names, those kinds of things, vehicle records, and the source of the knowledge. It's like going into a pawn shop. Where'd you get it? So once they have that, then they do an initial assessment. So the initial assessment is it an immediate threat with the lead that called in? Like, I know who it is because he's here and he plans to go rob a bank tomorrow. Well, that's an immediate threat. They're going to jump on it even quicker. It gets triaged different.
Okay, so what I said a minute ago is there was a guy. So that would be considered an immediate threat?
I would think so.
Possibly?
Yeah, I mean.
All right.
And then how specific is it? Is it relevant, credible enough to develop into something? And then they got to figure out if it's a duplicate of another lead, 30,000 other leads to look at. So hopefully there's an AI system or something.
Okay.
Is it a duplicate? And then is it connected to existing evidence? So while I'm saying all this, we're only on step 2. The FBI is taking in leads separately from the sheriff's office. So is there a system that they're talking every day or that automatically? I'm sure there is. It's just these are questions that I couldn't get answers to.
Well, I would.
So then after the initial assessment, it gets routed and assigned if it gets that far, if it passes those 2 steps. So the relevant information, now it can be routed to the responsible field office. So the FBI field office near Tucson, the sheriff's office. It also goes to third-party non-police entities such as DNA labs or any kind of lab.
Okay.
Whatever it needs to go, they immediately send it out. So hopefully that happens quick, but we know it's probably not. And then it goes through a compare and develop phase where they search records, compare it to other things, check timelines, all that kind of thing you can manage. Then maybe if it goes through all that and they figure out that it's warranted, it goes to what they called field follow-up. We saw some of this. So
that's what that lady was saying.
When we see them canvassing a neighborhood, those are usually generated off of tips that were called in by the public. Now, we saw them,
that's what that was?
I don't know. We saw them canvassing, and then they came back and canvassed several more times. Those had to be because local people or people wherever were giving tips about something. They're going to specific homes. Those are generated usually off of leads that are from the public. So they're going to go do canvasses. That's the only thing that we can visually see because, I mean, we would see Alex and everybody chasing around the SWAT vehicles. That's how we knew that they were acting on some sort of a lead. The interviews, we know a couple they had, but there's probably more that we don't know about. So the canvases and some of the interviews we get to see. The record surveillance, the warrants they're going out for, even though it's public information. I don't know if we're checking every day for warrants. Somebody probably
I mean,
is.
that probably goes into the ransom notes that he's saying that they got and had multiple
Yeah,
arrests. Like,
exactly.
how do we not know about that? And why is that not
We don't get the full
news?
timeline of things that happen when a lead comes in. We hear, oh, they're going to do a canvas. We don't know how that was even generated.
So let me ask you this. Do you feel like the public should be hearing about it? Because we're
Well,
Nancy Nancy's and
we
they're
know that
nosy
not every
Nathans,
lead
or-
leads to a boots on the ground investigation of every lead. That's impossible. Are they investigating the right leads is my question. And how many are there? I just want to know. There's 30,000 leads. We've gone through 26 of them, 26,000 of them, and we have this many left and we're working on it.
Right.
They're not going to release that to us simply because I think they would lose the public trust. And maybe they should. Like, maybe the system is broken. Maybe the lead generation system needs to be fixed, especially with computers and AI. And
Well,
there's got to be a way that literally, when the funnel fills up and it's going through the small bottom part of the funnel, there's a way to expedite that and make sure you're not making mistakes, because the smallest mistake on these leads and it may never get solved.
well, you and I talk about this sometimes. It's like the government is a government entity, i.e., taxpayers' dollars are going towards it, right? And a lot of times you and I discuss the inefficiency of these government entities. So if you brought in a private sector company to help with the efficiencies of something like this,
Yeah, I know.
I would feel like
It
that's
could be
important
fixed.
because obviously there's only so many taxpayer dollars that can go to, the telethon
Yeah.
method. And, forget about answering phone calls, just going through the immense amount of emails. I mean, just saying 1,500 tips is a lot, let alone what you were saying is the bigger number, which was how much was it? How many tips?
23,500 from the FBI and 18,000 of which, those.
I mean, that's almost.
But that's February 25th.
I know,
Again,
but
it could
how
be
many people are we talking? Because I remember him saying, "Oh, we've got a lot of people on it, like 50 something or whatever." But who is dedicated to just this? And like you said, is there a AI system that they have in place that's secure, that they can field the field the emails and the calls and go, okay, and put them into categories like, marry the neighbor is now called 20 times. So take that out. I mean,
they do that. That's what I
is
mean.
there any kind of disclosure on how they do any of this? No, I mean, I'm not
Well,
putting you on this. I mean, I am
I don't
putting you
know.
on.
All I know is that
Did you come across anything
they
that
get leads February 5th, they get leads February 29th or 28th, unless it's leap year. And then they go, do any of these leads look like each other? Because they want to not spend time on a duplicate lead. And it doesn't mean it's worded the same way. It could be a lead about somebody they saw buying something at Walmart.
this sounds like the
Then-
private sector?
Then a lead
needs to
comes in
help.
and it's the same thing, but it wasn't Walmart. Then they have to put it together and go, oh, it wasn't Walmart. It was the grocery store. The other person that said Walmart had it wrong. And they got to go back and call that person and figure it out.
Ugh.
But let's look at this real quick,
Alright.
because this is who you were talking to me about the other day, that Susan, I think it's Droby. She actually works for
Droopy.
the city of Tucson.
Okay.
She's like in the DA's office, and
Yeah, this was crazy.
she's
to
one of the
me.
people that was kind of in charge of how the tip line operated. And she got a major tongue lashing from the sheriff, like publicly. And so
Which,
she
I
came
mean,
out.
Can we pause on that? Just that alone? Who does that? Like, first of all, you're the
Nanos.
leader. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're the leader of the Cub Scouts or you're the leader of Pima County Sheriff, you're the leader of the department. Who comes out publicly and criticizes a member of their team? I mean, reprimand behind the scenes if you find that something was improper, but to do that publicly, to me, is just despicable. Like, that's just not professional. And how does that give us, the public, any more faith that you're running your department properly? I know. I'm sorry. Anyway, off my
Well,
soapbox.
her
Next.
quote was, whether every detail of this account is accurate or not, the larger issue is real. Major investigations can receive enormous volumes of information, and every potentially relevant lead creates work, documentation, comparison, assignment, follow-up, and closure. So what that's telling us is that it's an enormous amount of work every lead that comes in.
So what she's, I mean, if we read into what she's saying, the sheer volume is too much. They're overwhelmed, which is kind of what I think Analyze That Doug was saying. So maybe it's not what I thought. I was thinking that if they're not giving press conferences or willing to take statements on it and willing to talk to the public about how many tips they're getting, that maybe that's because they've already got their guy and they're waiting on just enough, evidence to
Right.
nail him to the wall. But this sounds like
Well, I'm just curious,
maybe
like,
they've gotten so many that they can't process them properly.
yeah, like what staffing, software supervision, quality control systems do they have to keep investigators from drowning in just the sheer volume of leads that they're receiving? And again, we don't know how many.
Yikes.
Maybe somebody can, but here's the real thing. And, it's the cruel math of the tip line.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of the funnel. It's on its side, but that's supposed to be a funnel-ish kind of a thing. I mean, they can't simply
I
skim
like it.
thousands of tips and discard anything that does not immediately look important, right? And they got to like look at everything and really put a magnifying glass on it. I mean, it could look like an ordinary lead and it becomes important only after another witness, record, video, phone extraction, some sort of piece of physical evidence that provides corroboration.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
what you're saying is you send in a tip, there's a possibility that it seems viable, but there's several steps that it has to go through before they even really check on it, I
yes,
guess.
definitely. I mean, that's of course, but
Well, I mean, kind of not. Like, what if some of it, I mean, what if somebody is not eloquent
well, we
in
all
how they
say
write their tip or call in their tip?
this is what scares me. You hear it all the time. Somebody out there knows something. Yeah, and there's 1.2 million reasons for that person to call in right now or click or whatever.
Okay.
So all I'm saying is that person has probably left a tip, in my opinion. He either called it in, sent it in, emailed it, something, and it's sitting in the system somewhere, and they're not telling us how many leads they're behind right now. And I think that they're not giving us numbers because it's probably in the thousands. And the lead that's going to crack this case, the person that called in and said something, are they calling in a second time? Are they going further? Or are they waiting for it to hit because they want to be anonymous? They called the 88 crime number.
Right.
And they don't want to keep calling it. Like they're now worried. Who knows what the situation is? But the danger is not only the investigators never received the answer. The danger to me is that they actually did receive it and they don't even know they have it. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at right now.
Well, I sure as heck hope not, but it's not sounding good after looking at this. I guess I feel naive. I don't know what I thought. I thought if you call the FBI and you know who it is, like say it's your nephew. Like I know that's my nephew. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my fear after now reading a comment from one of our viewers and now listening to you is that there's a chance that somebody has called in a tip today or yesterday or last week that they haven't even gotten to, and it could be another 4 months.
I didn't look into that because I think people
know.
already know that they're a little frustrated with that part. The sheer time it
I
takes.
guess I really feel
Yeah.
naive because I thought if you called, I thought you got in touch with a live person. I guess
Well,
I'm
and
an
here's
idiot.
here's
I did
the
picture it like the Jerry Lewis telephone, and
well,
there's probably people in here they're too young to know what that is.
I
But
think here's the thing. Like, do tips really solve cases anyway? I mean, I saw some people in the chat going, they have a video, they have all this. What are we going to tell them? Well, a lot, because that's generally how things are solved is public interaction. Even in the first 48, when you watch that show, they're out there pounding the pavement, but people are calling in and giving them information. That's how it's solved. Now, after 48 hours, in this case, after the first 2-3 weeks, they didn't have any more video. They didn't have any more evidence to talk about. That's when they start relying on the public to give them information even more than they did initially. So how often are cases this elevated, solved by the public? Well, those numbers aren't even kept. So I couldn't find them anyway. Maybe someone in here can go do better than I did. But all I could do is I went back to the FBI's data and said 75 years, 1950 to now, basically. How many people are on the most wanted list? Because those are pretty high level, cases, right? Well,
Right.
541 to be exact. So over 540 people have been put on the FBI's most wanted list. Of those, 163 have been found or apprehended. I think sometimes they're not alive any longer, so they call them located instead of apprehended.
Okay.
So now, how many of those 163 were by public interaction or tips or whatever?
Right.
They won't say.
What?
But I found some quotes online that says that it's almost always because somebody turns them in. Sometimes, but how long does it take? A year or 2 years? Sometimes it's within a days, and sometimes it's within decades because somebody's getting older. They found religion. There's all these kinds of things that happen.
Okay.
And what do? They call the tip line. So again, somebody out there does know something, and they probably, in my opinion, have already. It's been 5 months. They've called in. So again, just to summarize, like this may be really boring for people, but for me,
Well,
it's just about
no, hold
the
on.
tip situation is a problem. I feel like.
Analyze that. Doug just said exactly like Richard, that's my brother. How many man hours do we think it would have taken just to vet that one specific tip? If taken seriously, probably a very large number of investigative hours. Well, what's interesting about that, and Adam, if you're still in the chat, he can comment on this. I think I heard that Richard himself did call the FBI and has never heard back. And I know a lot of us feel like maybe it's bogus, but what if it was real? I mean, that's my problem with a lot of this is what you're saying is that there's people that have called, they've never heard back. And a lot of times people don't have the guts to continue to do this, to have the fortitude to continue to make that call, that they're scared for their own life, they're scared for their families' lives. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we're all sitting in our comfy homes, feeling safe that we're not in Pima County, but there are people that are next door neighbors, 1 block away, 2 blocks away, 5 miles away that are wondering, I may know the guy and
Yeah.
I think I'm going to make the call today and they're not getting called back.
I don't know.
And sometimes for months. I mean, I guess.
Look, here's the questions I have, and I'm summarizing these questions, and the answers that I have right now are not good. So, like, how many total tips has the FBI in Pima County received? We don't know. Shouldn't we know that? How many were duplicates, non actionable, or closed already after they reviewed them? We don't know. How many generated investigative leads turned into field assignments where they actually had something they thought?
Right.
We don't know. How many tips were shared between the FBI and the sheriff's office? We don't know any of this. What quality control processes do they have? Whether it's a high value tip or could it have been misclassified because things you learn as you go? Do we go back and look at some of those tips we threw away because now those were so crazy, but now maybe they're real?
That's what I'm getting at. Because sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. It's a saying for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
But my question is, did somebody already call in a piece of information that could solve this? And if they did, where is that tip in the system right now?
I don't know.
When you have that many calls, I mean, it was 30,000 plus the first 4 weeks, and now we're 5 months in. There's got to be more tips than that.
Well, like you
They've
said,
called in.
it depends on like the value of the tips, and I think that's very subjective.
Yeah, how quick
I
does
would
the
I would
triage
hope
happen?
that, I mean, my problem with a lot of this is I don't want to bash a police department.
No. I think they're
don't
doing all they
wanna-
can. I just wonder if the system's
Well,
broken because this is the way it's been.
I get it, but I also wonder like I guess I don't know what you call it. I guess the viability of the people involved in taking those tips. So we find out that the deputy that arrived on scene for this missing person has never worked a homicide. Then we find out that he calls his supervisor and he has never worked a homicide. Or I'm sorry, he worked one. He worked one homicide. So we're talking about people that are not seasoned homicide detectives. I'm curious as to the clerks or whoever are processing these tips, are they also not seasoned? And I mean, I would think that there would be somewhat of a talent to this because what I'm getting at is your next door neighbor, Mary, wants to call in, but she's terrified. She's not the best, content writer and writes down a very simple tip that ends up being the tip that they need. How do they sort through those and go, "Oh, well, this is valuable, this one's not?" I mean, I would think that there would be tips that would come in that would seem bogus, but could potentially be, a problem is a lack of empathy, either from the person who knows or no sense of responsibility to humanity, maybe even the authorities that could solve this, but for some reason couldn't care less. I think that is a big fear of a lot of people with law enforcement or first responders in general because of the horrific things that they see or hear on not just a daily basis, it's sometimes hourly basis, things that happen just in a day. And we know because our oldest son is a first responder. I mean, and sometimes Glenn can't listen to it, but I'll listen to it just because I know he's got to get it off his chest what he's seen. And some of these things are
Yeah.
like indescribable and that our first responders go through. So I you have to get this, hardened exterior to deal with the indescribable. Having said that, sometimes their method of getting through the day and getting through the experiences is coming up with behavior that sometimes doesn't look empathetic. I promise you that the majority of them, I know there's always the one, the two, but the majority of them are completely empathetic. So I really want to believe that that's not what's happening. But having said that, I also know that there can be how do I explain this? Like okay, perfect example. A family member of ours is kind of dramatic. I won't say who it is, but that family
It's
member,
not me, is it?
no, and it's not me. So it's not landed. But anyway, this person seems to have this hypochondriac type of personality. Are you even watching the screen, Landon? Okay. Um, and that person came up to Preston and said, "I'm not feeling well." Preston was sympathetic and empathetic, but there was a bit of eye rolling, I'm sure, under his breath, and was like, "Whatever, I'll check it out." And it ended up being something legit. And he was like mortified that he told us privately, he didn't do this in front of the person, privately, like, "Dang, I feel bad." I'm like, "Well, they don't know." And he was like, "No, but sometimes it's hard because it's like, oh God, here we go again." So I have a feeling there may be some of that in the department, but I guess that's my question. Like, is there training involved? Like, is there a protocol involved for how to determine whether something is a legit
I don't know.
tip? I mean, was there anything online? I know you probably didn't go down that rabbit hole, but that says that they have a protocol of, I mean,
Well, I
what if
think
Mary's not good at communicating? Is what I'm getting at.
unfortunately, this is such a
That's my
narrow
hypothetical
topic that I
neighbor.
know it's probably boring. We probably need to move on.
Are you guys bored?
But all I'm saying is we focus so heavily on everything else.
Yeah.
Let's focus on what we can control and what we know we have. We have a certain amount of tips and leads from some people in the community that probably know what happened. Have we looked at all those yet? I don't think they've gone through all of them yet. Have they?
Well, we're not having faith in Pima County, but I feel like a lot of us still have faith somewhat
I think
in
the
the
answer
FBI.
is come through already, and they don't. Or the other way that we were thinking earlier is that they already know who it is, so the tips don't matter, but they can't say that out loud, so they're not talking about the tip numbers because they're really not tracking it anymore because they've already got it solved, and they're just the DA is not letting them do anything yet because, as we know from Brian, the retired homicide detective that we
Glenn's
know,
brother-in-law, if you weren't here for that
is that the
episode.
DA controls it. The cops can come in, or the sheriff's department, whoever, and say, here's a video of them doing it. Here's the DNA evidence. And the DA, because they're like elected officials or whatever, they can say not enough because they don't want any losing cases. Even one losing case is bad for them. So they're going to make it to where it's so solid And honestly, that's good because we don't want them to go to court and then a technicality happens, which we've seen often. Again, on the Springfield 3, that guy is out of Florida prison death row because of a technicality. And we think he may be one of the suspects, or he is one of the suspects. So things happen. We don't want that to happen.
Suspects.
But let me show this real quick. These are some of the players that have actually made quotes. It'll come up on this screen in just a second if you want to. For the people that are listening and not watching,
you're gonna make me with my new mouth apparatus.
It's like an 85-point font over here. There you go. Look at that.
Pronunciate correctly. So, okay. So the one lead quote, Robert E. McDonald, former U.S. Secretary Service criminal justice professor, told Newsweek that every tip must be triaged and run out. Investigators are trying to isolate that one piece of information that could move the case forward, because that one lead could resolve the case. Well, I mean, I think that's what we all hoped, but the way you're saying it and the way they're reporting it sounds like it could take months.
Well, that one lead is sitting on, again, the proverbial desk. It's sitting on someone's desk, or it's sitting in their computer. It's sitting on some sort of whatever the means are that they have. Maybe it is still on paper here and there. I don't know. I'm not, and don't know. So, but I don't like not knowing this many questions to how this works. No, and they won't tell us.
I probably won't sleep tonight knowing this. Number 2, the counterpoint is Robin Drake, and retired FBI special agent. Public podcast appearances frame the tip problem differently. 18,000 tips are not enough if the key witness is not called yet. Well, I mean, duh. I mean, I think that's what you're kind of saying, is that low quality versus high quality tips. And then 3, the volume. Sheriff Chris Nanos said investigators had fielded 30,000 calls for leads through multiple channels, including Pima County Sheriff's Department and the FBI. I mean, did you really, Sheriff Nanos, did you really field through 30,000 calls? I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out here. Well, I mean, is that on an answering machine somewhere in perpetuity in their back room? I mean, anyway, okay, number 4, workload. Roberto, is that Villasenor?
Villasenor.
Okay, former Tucson police sheriff or police chief, called tip screening a tremendous amount of work, but said that public input becomes critical after scene work is exhausted. And then the triage lesson, Lieutenant Darren Gilbertson of Idaho State Police explained how FBI analysts can spike conspiracy noise with handling credible tips up to what? Oh, up to investigators. I mean, so basically you start at one end of the spectrum that's saying we triage it until they run out, we do it. And then this FBI or Idaho State Police is saying that it's explained how FBI analysts can spike conspiracy noise while trying to.
So when they hand out all these leads, it usually spikes the conspiracy theories that start happening, because why is there so many leads and things happen?
I'm curious,
But really, when you think about it, it's one or the other. It's one or the other. It's either the break is already there, the tip that's going to solve this, and it's sitting in a pile, or the witness is silent, hasn't come out yet. It's one or the other. Somebody knows. Even if you say the only person knows are the people that did it, well, they know, and someone's going to eventually, hopefully, feel guilty or whatever, or tell something to somebody. I mean, honestly, again, on the Springfield 3 the other day, where they were talking about how you're next to your cousin and he just seems weird, like something's off about him. That could be enough to call and go,
well, your cousin is weird.
No.
I'm just kidding. I've never met his cousins.
I brought up this topic and you got weird about it. That may be enough to call. You never know. Like, if you have any family members that are acting strange about this and don't want to come in chat, and they may know something.
I think that's the problem that I see with a lot of this, is that people get up the guts. That's what I know. I keep saying that because I really feel like that's a huge part of it, is that you get up the guts to say something, and then you finally make the call, and then you're twiddling your thumbs, hoping somebody calls you. You're nervous as heck. And then it could be 5 months or 4 months.
Who's Buddy Jackson?
Card Central. Congrats on the channel. It seems like when Nanos had his first press conference, he looked like a deer. Oh, I mean,
deer in headlights.
I mean,
yeah, that's
when was he not? I'm like, this guy had a gambling problem to the point where it was reported at his last job. I'm like, well, I think the gambling problem was that he wasn't good at it because well, at least maybe I'm hoping it wasn't poker because he's got the worst poker face ever. I keep telling Glenn, I feel like he gives us tells every time somebody does a press conference with him. I feel like the FBI is like, please stop
Listen, if someone knows something
talking.
and they're watching this, it will eat you alive that you didn't say anything, because what if the same person do something else wrong and you could have put a stop to it? That is so
That's
true.
exactly right.
It's on your hands now. I mean, that's where we're at. If something happens,
But I
and it
get it.
does, people do the same crimes over and over again. Even when they've been caught and they go to prison and come out, they do it. Say that word, recidivizations or something.
Mm.
Recid.
I try to play
Recid.
devil's advocate with some of this because it's like I'm obviously we're on a podcast. I'm very outgoing.
Barney.
I don't, I don't keep my mouth shut if I see something wrong. Which has not always boded well for me, but I mean that's just who I am. So I would say something.
Patricia.
But what'd she say?
I think somebody needs to go down there and show Barney how it's done.
I mean, but I
That's so
try to
true.
understand that there are people that are less willing to come forward. I mean, there's people that are on here in chat. They're like, I don't feel comfortable calling and having my voice heard. So I have to believe that there's also those people that know something and then finally get up the guts to call. And I think that's my fear.
Yeah.
Is that they either don't get a hold of somebody or, I mean, please, there were a lot of us. I'm sure there's somebody in the chat that watched this on one of the live streams, whether it was Alex or JLR or, somebody there on site, Juice. That, I mean, I saw it on all of theirs. Hey, I tried to get a hold of the Pima County, but I couldn't get a hold of anybody. And I'm just going to tell you. And it's like, we're not 911. We can't. And they've tried to help some of these people, but so what? Oh, okay. So now that you've gone through all the stats, what is your gut instincts on this? Do you think that is your feeling that they already have gotten the tip, like they already know the guy?
I feel like this is my concern and what I believe.
Okay.
There's a bunch of deer there in the backyard. I believe that the tip has come in.
Mm-hmm.
It probably came in within the first few, it's probably the first 30,000. It's in there somewhere.
Okay.
And they have either triaged it, misfiled it.
Okay.
Or they've thrown it out thinking that's ludicrous because that there's a person in charge of that. And I feel like as many tips as there are, I know they can't do this, but I feel like it needs to go in front of a board, every tip. And when I say board, it could be two people. But you can't have one person making these decisions because they're just going to go, I've got so much work. The game's on tonight. I got to get home.
Right.
I have to go through 1,000 a day and I'm never going to make it if I actually look through these. I hope there's no quotas on getting through the tips. They have to look at all of it. And I know they probably are. And I know they're all probably very capable.
Look at all of them legally.
I'm not saying that anyone's doing anything wrong. I'm saying the sheer volume probably requires some updated technology to get it done. We have, if anyone's ever used any of the AI things now, the Chat GPT, Claude, Perplexity, Copilot, Gemini, any of those, it blows your mind what it's capable of doing. I had cowork doing stuff on my computer that I was watching it do it. I mean, I have a new MacBook and I couldn't figure out some stuff, so it showed me how to do it. Then it did it. Like it got frustrated with me and said, that Saturday Night Live skit, move. The IT guy, that's felt like that. I'm like, well, I'm used to that.
When we're old, I don't know anybody in here even knows what you're talking about. That was a long time ago, but yes.
I'm not even 60, okay?
Okay, well, whatever.
All right. So anyway, that's my belief. I feel like the tip's already been put into the system. I don't know where it is. It's on someone's desk in their computer in a trash bin. I don't know, but it's sitting there and we've got to get to it. And at the very least, not me, but when a news person,
right,
Brian Etten or whoever, Savannah, she's not doing interviews like that for obvious reasons. But if someone at her level calls Sheriff County, I need an interview or the next interview with him, how many leads have you received through the tip line?
Okay.
And give us a number. And then I want to know how many have you gone through? And then of those, how many were rejects, the buzzards flying around 5th and Main? My cousin's a psychic. Those are throwouts. Those are low value. How many low values have been thrown out? And then how many high values are you still have and you're still working on? You know, obviously you can't tell us what they are specifically, but why aren't we getting these numbers? And my theory is when I found out we're not getting those numbers, that's when I went, it's because the number, you can't handle the truth. And they're probably right. We probably can't handle the truth. It's probably
But what truth?
some crazy number.
That they're out of the 18,000.
They've gone through 10 or something stupid. I don't
or worse, too.
Well, I mean, I'm
2,000?
sure they've gone through thousands,
I would
but
hope in 5 months.
the sheer volume is a bottleneck. The funnel is plugged. How do we fix that? I think you need some really smart people, some real computer geniuses, along with some evidence geniuses. Bring them out of retirement and say, look, we got 30,000 leads. How do we put these in a system where they can be gone through?
They didn't bring anybody out of retirement to help in the homicide investigation.
Yeah, the Cajun Navy can't even do what they normally do. No. That probably would have ended this thing the first few weeks.
I think I really kind of, I know this is informative, but it's the minuscule part of me that's a little OCD is going to have trouble with this tonight. Like, now I'm really wondering how many calls that they've actually gone through, how many tips they've actually gone through, and the fact that they're not responding to the public's questions. I wonder how much of that legally are they bound to share or not to share? I mean, obviously they're not sharing, so they don't legally have to share. How many tips? I don't know. I guess that's a little frustrating.
To me, 30,000 is a year of work or more. And we're in month 5 and they've received more than that we know of, because 30,000 was the February 25th number ish. I mean, it's 23.5 plus 18. How many of those were duplicates though?
Chat? I wonder if he's in the chat. I want to know, like, do you even have an idea of how many people came up to you with tips and said that they've tried to call and couldn't call or couldn't get a hold of anybody? Like, I feel like I heard that one too many times when I was watching live streams, and it was a little unnerving, to say the least, because I feel like some of these people are scared to death to say anything at all, and then they're not outgoing. They're introverts,
and
now they're scared for their lives. What?
Because I just get mad thinking about it. There's 30,000 possible answers, or more, much more probably. One of them's right. One of them's definitely, I mean, just the law of averages. If you ever took a statistics class and passed it, which not many people passed the first time, those are
right.
You know that's a lot. That's 30,000 little units of information. And again, that's the small number. It's probably more than that, much more. The answer is in those. How are they extrapolating that out of that?
So Major Rammer Jammer is saying, my theory is this was done, but a legit criminals who are about that life. They do this for real, and they are not in the US. And the first 2 ransom notes were legit.
Yeah, that could be
interesting.
That's interesting.
That would be very interesting if they ended up not being in the US, let alone in Pima County.
Yeah.
So, but I understand why people think that they think about the fam potentially being involved, allegedly. Allegedly. I've had a lot of people tell me that I've had hundreds of email tips just to us. That's it from Adam.
What?
A lot of people have told me that they've had hundreds of email tips just to them. See, this is my problem. There's a comfortability level that most people do not have with calling Pima County, FBI. I mean, I can't imagine the anxiety that some of these people that may know something legit have in calling law enforcement. So they're calling Adam. They're talking to Alex. They're talking to Juice. They're talking to JLR. They're talking to anybody that's out there and available, because they're local and they feel like it's somebody that they can talk to that will actually freaking listen.
You know, it takes me longer than it takes you to get to a belief that ends up being the reality. Let me give you an example. Sheriff Nanos, people, am I saying it right? Nanos, it's Greek.
Banana nanos.
Banana Nanas. He,
Yeah.
at first I felt bad for him because everyone was coming down on him. And I just saw a guy that, was from obscurity to front and central on national news and didn't know how to handle it. Meanwhile, he's got a case he's trying to solve. And then as time went on, I went, this guy's an idiot. And then we found out, and I even hate saying that, like he's got a job to do. And whether he's doing it good or bad, it's his job to do it. We should support him however we can to get to the end of this, or let him move on somehow, which they tried, it didn't work. But anyway,
Right.
now I don't feel sorry anymore. And what really pisses me off is inconsistencies. And I want to roll that clip that you put up of the inconsistency of that.
Before you roll that clip, I want to preface
this is only a few days ago, and this is when I started going, we're in trouble.
I saw
we're in real trouble
a couple
here.
people's chats that people were like, well, I think it's in the FBI's hands now. And I'm like, did people not see that clip the other night? Because most of us, I mean, we all have lives, right? A lot of us are obsessed with this, but whether you're obsessed or not, you still have a life. You can't watch every single news thing that comes out. So Pima County Sheriff Banana Nanarama said, I always want to go, no, 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 no.
Dun, 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 dun.
Banana. I'm sorry. I got it out of my system. So he came out with one of the few press conferences that he ever did, or ever does.
Earworming now, Jen.
And I'm sorry. And he said, first of all, he was dodging. It was, what we all call a word salad now. It was ridiculous. And then they asked him, like, when you get certain things, like the FBI's handling that. And we already know that right before that, he had already told us that he is no longer in communication with Savannah Guthrie or the Guthrie family. So I think a lot of us didn't need, the memo. We understood that the FBI is in charge of this case.
Great movie.
Right? And what movie?
The Office.
Oh, yes. So I feel like, I guess I naively assumed that the FBI is in charge. They're moving and grooving. They're handling this. And that's why we're not getting a lot of press conferences. And Nanos has nothing to say because he's not really that involved. Unfortunately, this came out this week or last week. So go ahead and play the clip now. I'm so frustrated.
Yeah, this is insane.
FBI director, if you don't mind. Reuters is reporting that the ransom notes that were sent regarding Nancy Guthrie's disappearance are fake. Are you able to confirm that those have been determined to be fake?
I'm not going to comment on that. We are continuing to assist that investigation. We've always been in an assist role. It's a state matter being led by the state authorities. Thank you.
Could you guys hear that?
Yeah. I have it turned down here because I don't want to hear his voice.
Well, we've always been in an assist role. This is a state county matter. So I'm not going to comment on that.
Well,
we're in an assist role. We have always been in an assist role.
Not to mention Reuters, very well respected news organization. They've made some mistakes in the past, but pretty well respected news organization.
But for the most part, what they say is legit.
Yeah. They came out and said the notes were fake. And I saw everybody jumping, all YouTubers, all other news stations.
Yeah.
We knew it all the time. I told you from the beginning. I won't even name some YouTubers that were on it. I was watching that upstairs and I'm like, how do they know they're fake? Like, there's no way to know that to a level that they should put that out into the public.
That's where you went with it? I went with, what the heck have we been talking about? And why didn't you tell us all along that it was no longer legit? And then I also wanted to know how you got one guy extradited, arrested within 24 hours when we keep hearing all these tech people going, oh, they can absolutely trace that. Like, there's ways to trace it. Well, then why haven't those people been arrested?
But
now you're telling us they're not legit?
But now they're real again.
That's where I went. I know. So wait 24 hours.
Now they're fake again.
Changed. Yeah.
That was just sloppy media coverage.
I feel like we're living through the twilight zone.
And now there's people that are very well respected that said, oh, we knew all along they were fake. I told you not to focus on those. And the next day they come on and are like this. Sorry. Today's show is going to be about peanut butter and jelly. I went, oh, no.
Hurting over the issue that they just less than, what was it, 12 hours later, it was like, I mean, I knew it all along. And that's my job. And then, nope. I don't know. And I don't fault anybody for saying that I knew it all along, because we were taking it as legit news that they
Yeah.
were not legit. So, and are you wanting to sing that too? Too
No,
legit to
no,
quit.
no, no.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't sing anymore.
Well, I don't either. It's my poor attempt at rap. But anyway,
So what do you think about that issue of it? Let's see if anyone in the chat has.
yeah. Does anybody want to call in? We can put up a
Oh yeah, we
link.
could do that.
And then can you go through some of the comments? Like, okay, let's see. The first one I'm seeing is, because this criminal network is way, way deeper than your average criminal, a standard VPN alone can be tracked. That's why I said these people are not in the US. I'm going to say Mexico. You know, I actually wondered that, just because of all the, it was funny because I feel like it was like this snowball effect when everybody was reading those ransom notes and the weird language. I said to him, I go, I wonder if it's a translation. And then it was like a snowball effect. Everybody was saying that. Like, could it be a translation? So maybe you're right. Full balls.
I do have the
undermining the integrity of their institution and treating the public like dummies. Jody Lynn. You know, I'm tired of feeling like we're being talked to like we're elementary school children and we don't know. First of all, the internet has opened all of our, you know,
yeah.
worlds to a plethora of knowledge in various fields that none of us are experts in. And I'm not saying that the internet is the begin and end all, but I think if there's a subject that we're confused about, not learned about, not, you know, well read on, we can Google, we can chat, and it explains it to us. And we can even say, please dumb it down. I'm not an attorney, you know, help me
Jody,
out
such
here.
language.
And Jody, what'd she say? The bull balls? Oh yeah, exactly. No, I would have said worse. Okay, Major Rammer Jammer. Why did the billboards have Nancy's pick and not Porch Guy? Okay, Rebecca, that is.
We got to be careful. We don't want to run into Patriot Pride. I want to get
No, we're
upstairs and
good.
watch that.
We're fine.
Is it? Oh,
I think my problem with the billboards has always been, why does it say missing? Why doesn't it say abducted and the Porch Guy's picture and her picture? It's beyond. I really have no words. Okay, problem with ransom is they're all getting clumped together. We know there's at least 5 different letter writers. Can't be all real, but some may be real. Specific letters should have been isolated. I agree. And I feel like they keep talking about the same 2, which I feel like are the ones that we've heard about, because Savannah pretty much solidified that in her interview. So I guess they can't leak everything because it tells specifics about the case. I mean, I would think that would be the only reason they would think it was legit. And I have a feeling it has more than the watch going on with it. And maybe it was just in a weird spot. I'm just wondering if Barney is so greedy that he wants this reward. He's willing. Oh, 100%. And I think the reward, not meaning reward money, meaning, you know, anybody that's ever watched A Christmas Story.
There's the link in the chat. If somebody wants to, we could do a little quick panel.
Where he has, remember in A Christmas Story where he's having that dream and he's going like this and they're lifting him up because he won, you know, the best essay contest in his head. And I thought that's what Nanos is picturing. He's picturing that when Nancy Guthrie is found, this case is solved, that he's doing this through the city and he's being lifted up on a pedestal, you know? The flip-flop in front of eyes is insane. The word salad has spoiled and made us all sick. Jody Lynn, yes. Yes. Okay, so Major Rammer Jammer.
He's asking us to do something. Glenn, I got one for you. Go back and rewatch the video of when the porch guy walks up to the porch right before he gets to the door.
Oh, I know.
Does he not seem surprised when he sees? Let's look at that.
I don't think so.
My problem is I have 2 from the FBI.gov's website. It's the 13-second porch guy video and the 27-second.
Now, do we don't get in trouble for that because we put
Well,
over
everybody else
18?
plays that video, but what was it, Justin? If you ever watched Justin, that guy's hilarious.
Clutch my pearls.
Clutch my pearls. Anyway, he was taken down for a day for playing the porch guy
24
video
hour
because it
version.
showed a pew pew apparently. But everyone else plays it.
I wonder if this is set to everyone and not like over 18 because we said not
Could
for
have a
adults,
setting
maybe.
wrong. Yeah, we purposely say no
But
kids.
okay, we'll watch it, Major Rammer Jammer. But when I first saw it,
If we're not around
I
in
don't
the next
think
few days, it's your fault.
yeah, I don't think he's surprised because he looks down and turns on the bite light before he steps on the step.
Well,
And
I
to
hope
me,
one of
I
these
think he knows
videos.
the step is there.
I hope one of
so-
these videos is actually what we're thinking because these are the ones I could find of. I was trying not to copy somebody
Well, let us know if
else's.
it's the right one.
Well, we'll start with the 13-second one. I don't remember which one's
Oh,
which.
it's real, but actually it's not real. Oh wait, but
So
it's
that's
real.
the
Never mind.
foliage
Missy.
one.
Exactly.
He's already there with his bite. Like, ah, what a freak.
I mean, we're getting dizzy by just listening to Reuters and the FBI. So that's not the one that's after.
That's not the one.
No, it's the
All right.
lockup one.
So let me play the 27-second one. I think that's
yeah. But for some reason, I don't know why this clip from the FBI doesn't show the minute before that. It's like not minute,
But does he look?
well, no, you couldn't see it because he comes around the corner. I don't know why it doesn't show him.
Yeah.
With the
no,
bite
this
light
is the
on this
one from the FBI. So let me rewind it. That's right there.
It was before that though. Yeah, and see that's where that video starts, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to find the other clip. I know what you're talking about.
Man, look at that.
It's when he rounds the corner and he turns on the bite light right before he gets to that step of her stoop. So
he knew it was there. That's what. See, I think he's trying to just
personally think
cover the.
Well,
but again, he doesn't show up with a piece of tape or a screwdriver. He's got a backpack.
Well, let me ask you, because you're more techie, or Landon. So on those Nest cameras, Landon, do you know this? Or anybody out there that has one, do they have like a light that comes on when somebody is at your door? Does anybody know? But when you say infrared, like, so it's like there's no light that comes on to shine on the person on your porch. Because like one of our cameras, it has a light that comes on. So you can't see it. Okay. Does anybody in the chat have a Nest? No? Okay. I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, it takes 5 minutes.
Well, different cameras have different things, so I'm just curious. So, Landon, you don't know, or you think it's just infrared?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, that's why he had his head down. That's what I thought. Is it? Well, I didn't think he had his head down because he knew the camera was there. I thought he was watching his step because you've got to remember we can see him, but I think it's freaking pitch black out there. And if Alex is still in the chat, he can tell us yes or no. But it was a Nest. It was a Google Nest. He's looking it up. My point exactly. If he knew that camera was there, he would have been more prepared to. Well.
And if you can put the.
I don't know.
Pin the.
Okay, he said, yes, mine does light up when something is detected. See, that's what I was wondering, Major Rammer Jammer. I personally think if you watch it again, you'll see he turns his bite light on before he gets to the step.
Yeah.
Well, why would he turn the light on unless he knew there was a step there?
All generations of the Nest doorbell cameras have built-in infrared for night vision, so you won't see it.
So you won't see a light.
Like a little bit,
but hers was old. You're saying all generations? Okay, so Landon said it says all generations have an infrared and it doesn't have a light.
I mean, it's technically light, you just can't see it with the human eye.
Well, that's what I'm guessing. I mean, that's what I'm getting at. See, I was thinking.
That's why you can see it on the camera. That's why he's illuminated, because the camera picks it up, but the human eye can't.
Okay. Well, then that blows my theory. I don't know. I thought maybe the light was why he was putting his hand over it to like cover up the light, so that he could see what he was doing.
The red bulbs a little bit, slightly.
Okay.
But like he wouldn't see himself getting lit up like you see on the camera. It's not quite.
Well, the bite light.
He could see the camera.
Patricia, what I was saying is, I think he was sneaking around the side. Then he turns the bite light on to make sure he doesn't trip on the step. And that way he's able to see what's going on. And that's why when you see him with the weed, or not the weeds, it was a bush. But when he sees that, you can see the light in his mouth still. So I think it's because it's pitch black and he's trying to figure out where he is. And it's I mean, his eyes couldn't really adjust, but I don't know. Maybe you're right. I personally thought he knew the camera was there. He was just a doofus, or he thought because a signal was, yeah, maybe to signal someone in the house when he approaches the door. I know a lot of people have said that.
Oh, somebody's calling in.
Oh, great. Who's calling?
Patricia, I guarantee you.
Oh, Miss Patricia.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Is it?
Yeah. Hello, Patricia.
Can you hear us? I guess we could take the
Hello.
video down. Can she hear us? Miss Patricia,
Yeah, her volume's up.
is your volume down? I mean, your microphone off? Are you muted?
I can tell we're connected, but we can't hear you. If you can hear us,
And
we
if anybody
cannot hear
just joined
you.
the chat and is wondering why I'm talking weird, I'm so insecure about it. I just got Invisalign because I was grinding my teeth, and they said it's because my teeth were misaligned, so I'm embarrassed. So I'm sorry if I'm lisping.
Not near as bad as another YouTuber I know.
What? Stop. Be nice.
I am nice. I'm the nicest person.
Anyway, well, that's interesting. I will say this while we have like 30 minutes left before we have to all go and see Adam and Patriot Pride. I did finally talk, because I was telling you all I was going to have a first responder on tonight, and his schedule ended up changing and conflicting. And it was actually a really good friend of our oldest sons. But I finally asked my son, because he ended up being off today, but he had plans tonight. I said, okay, I've got to ask you about the first moments that the family kept saying that there was a medical emergency. And he said, okay, what's your question? So I'm looking up at the screen. So I said, look, according to Savannah's interview with Hoda, she said that when she got a hold of, or Annie got a hold of her, and I think some of us are guessing. I want to hear what everybody's guess is. Like, what time do you think Savannah got that call? Because I've done my own, not scientific math, but I think Savannah was called like 2:00 in the afternoon, Tucson time. That's my guess. So I'm assuming that means the police were probably there for a couple hours. And the only reason I'm assuming that is because Savannah said there was chaos in the background. But in Savannah's recounting of the phone call from her sister, she said that her sister said, Mom is gone. She's missing. I think that she's had a medical episode, something to that effect, because the back gate was open and the back doors were propped open, right? Right? You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I said, Preston, let's just play hypothetical here and say that you and your boys, because he's worked out in the county, so he's worked for a volunteer fire department, and now he's, at a very large fire department in the Dallas area. So I said to him, I said, say this scenario is an 84-year-old woman, you get a phone call, like she's calling 911. She has said she's having a medical emergency. Let's just say it was a heart attack, like she says she's having a heart attack. And she calls 911, but she says, I don't have great mobility. Bye, Landon. I don't have great mobility. I think I'm having a heart attack and I can't get to the door.
He's gone.
What would you do? He's gone. So everybody be nice. So how would you have handled that as a first responder getting to the scene? Would you have propped open the doors like you can't get in? How would you do that? And he said, first of all, he said, we usually don't do forced entry on the front door, which I thought was very interesting. And I said, why? And he goes, well, because if there was an intrusion, like a home invasion or potential, you're unsafely letting the entire neighborhood know that door is now been impacted. So we would usually go into the rear. So I can't say a time, but I do think it was after police arrived, which means she didn't feel the need to call Savannah when police were on the way. Right. I just remember her saying, like Savannah saying they dropped their things. It was later, and the chaos. I'm like, well, obviously that wasn't right when the deputy got there and they're explaining their stories. She would be like, the police just got here. I've got to go. I've got to tell them my stuff. Chaos sounds to me like homicide was already called. There were probably dogs there, whatever. Who's calling? Is it Patricia? Anyway,
Hello?
who's here?
It's weird because, it
It's-
is Patricia. It's the same
We're showing
thing. The
we're
volume's all
connected.
the way up too. And it's the same volume for everybody.
But anyway, he said they would have gone around to the
Sorry,
back.
Patricia, we can't hear
Yeah,
you.
we
I don't
can't
know
hear
what
you.
the deal is. It did that last night, but then it worked all of a sudden. So I don't
If
remember
you can
what
figure out your
did.
volume and just talk, then we'll know you're live. But anyway, he said they would have gone around to the back. They potentially would have propped the doors open. He also said that they would have done a forced entry in the back, but very gingerly. He goes, I know that sounds ridiculous because it's like a forced entry. He goes, but we carry tools on our truck to get in and go through locks, penetrate the locks, and we have to take the door off the door jamb. He goes, it's very rare, but
They tear your house up.
no, he said that they really try not to. If they have to take it off the jamb, then
He
they
lied.
do. No, he didn't. He wouldn't lie. And then he said, if she was by herself alone in the home, they would have absolutely taken their wallet because it has their ID and other information in it. And he said, especially if the person was potentially unconscious after they called, he said, even with that, even more so, they would have taken their contents, like their purse, their wallet, something. He goes, we have had to do that for individuals because we need to know as much information about them as possible. And the ID has their height, their weight. There's all sorts of information on there that they can gather for patient information. Now, this is the interesting part. I said, well, would you have left the doors open? He goes, no. He goes, first of all, you've got to remember that on the ambulance itself, it's a minimum of 2 people. The fire also comes, and that's a minimum of 4 people. He goes, you're looking at usually 5 to 7 people at a minimum on site for any emergency call. And I said, okay, so what do you, and he goes, so in other words, say it is like bad, like we've got to get her to the hospital now. He goes, well, then the ambulance leaves and whoever is left behind on fire, we have all the tools on our truck. So we would have put the door back on its jamb. We would have used screws or screwdrivers or something to screw the door back in place and put everything back the way, as much as we could, the way we found it. And I said, so none of the doors being left open? He goes, no. I said, okay, second question. If you call 911, you don't know what's happened. You're freaking out. You think your mom's been taken by emergency. The deputy shows up. You're explaining all of this. You're crying. You're freaking out. You're losing your mind. You're trying to explain that it's not a walk off. You think emergency picked up. He goes, okay. There's a thing that we have on all of our rigs, and then they have on their cruisers. The police do. It's a little computer, and he said the name of it, and I'm going to forget it. It's something DS. I don't know. And he said they can look up on it very quickly. And he said, now ours don't link with theirs, but they can quickly do a chat, if not by radio, on the computer to dispatch. And he said it would take probably under 30 seconds to get an answer as to whether somebody from the ambulance to fire had been at the home earlier in the morning. I said 30 seconds. He goes, Mom, it's literally 30 seconds. He goes, because they would be like, this is the address, and he calls, and they can see it on the screen because they know where you're calling from. And I was like, okay. He goes, so they would have known. And I said, so this discussion that she's having with her sister about, we think there was an emergency. And she's like, well, did you call? We called the hospitals. I called the hospitals. Well, then I'll call the hospitals. I mean, did you call the police? I called the police. They're here. And then she said that she could hear all this chaos. So he said that he said, in defense of the family, I will say that we have had family members, and I know this sounds awful, but that we're sitting in a room with a deceased relative for hours. And he said, and it was not nefarious. They had cancer or something was going on. They probably should have had hospice. And they just thought the person was napping and then realized they weren't napping and then didn't know how to call somebody. And I said, okay. And he goes, people act really weird. And he goes, I've never been called in to testify, which means I've never been involved in a homicide or anything nefarious. But having said that, I will say that I know that it's very difficult to judge people in the worst hour of their lives and what is logical and what not, what's not logical. So anyway, that's that. So then he did say that, just so we know, that is a little odd if it was 2 hours later, because the minute the deputy arrived and the fact that that was repeated to Savannah, that they said, we think there was a medical emergency. He goes, it would have been, I'm going to give it some grace and say under a minute. He said 30 seconds. 30 seconds, they would have known that this was not an emergency situation. So that would be a little strange if they had been told that. And he said, I can't judge for Pima County. I don't know how they do things. He goes, but my personal experience would be that the deputy would have relayed that to the family immediately, that this was not a medical emergency, because he would have been able to find out within 30 seconds. So if that was a discussion with the deputy, if we think that there was could there have been a medical emergency? Did she call 911? They would know, like, immediately. So anyway, so let's take some.
Can you summarize that whole thing? Basically, emergency services, like the fire department, shows up. There's no question if it was a walk-off or not, probably at that point. So by them telling us, they were considering it
Not
a walk-off,
an emergency. Because remember, she said that she thought that
they would know.
They used a gurney to get her out.
Right.
He goes, yes, we would have propped open the doors, but we do not.
And when you call 911, fire department always shows up. So they would have had access to the records of knowing she's not in any hospital. You don't have to call the hospitals. They are the hospital system, and their radios on their trucks and their iPads on their trucks look up any of that stuff.
So Misty's saying, and we'll go through some more of the questions. Savannah and A&T said they called hospitals from the get-go. I asked if they'd search everyone's cell phones and devices. Did they call hospitals? Okay, so Misty, I want to ask you this, because I was asking my son, and he said the other problem with calling hospitals, he said, is that HIPAA violation or HIPAA laws are so strict. He goes, even if it's your mother, he goes, they can't, he goes, at least in my experience, he goes, I can't say with absolute 100% certainty, and it depends on, each state and their rules, but he feels like they can't even give out identifying information. Like, well, did an 84-year-old woman come in? Have you had any elderly women that came in tonight? He said he doesn't even think that they can give out that. Can you speak to that? Do you know, since you're a nurse, like, is that, I don't know. Did you look up into the mom on the other case? And has one of you started to write a book about the case? Sorry, going squirrel. No, I did not. No, it's okay.
Squirrel,
I did
what
not.
that means.
I did not look up that other case yet, and I have not started writing a book on this case. I don't think I'm a writer. But hi, Landon. I have my own theory that starts making more and more sense to me after I hear each stream. Well, do you feel comfortable sharing it? Maybe just put a disclaimer at the front, allegedly, because we'd love to hear it. And then, are there any before this that we missed?
Somebody needs to call in. It's pinned at the top. It's a link.
Canada,
you just put it in your browser.
Canada,
you put it in your browser, and then you can just connect to us. Don't be shy.
Yeah, we would love to talk to you guys. Right? In Canada, they don't tell you. They wait for family or someone to show up at the hospital.
Interesting.
Wait, there was one before that. Yep, went through it myself. I had my mom's social security number and everything because I wasn't on her HIPAA form. They wouldn't even tell me. See, that's
amazing. That's crazy.
So how many hospitals are you calling before you keep hearing the same answer?
But you don't even need to do that if the fire department's there, and I'm sure they were. They can tell you.
You mean deputy, not fire department?
Deputy would call the fire department never showed up?
No, he said not for a missing person, fire department would not show up.
Oh,
I was giving a hypothetical because Annie kept telling me.
But the sheriff's deputy has the same capability in his car to go, don't call the hospitals, I'll find out for you, with one radio call. Yeah. I'm sure of it.
See, Misty's saying, I hope obviously their phones were searched. We know that.
Yeah.
I'm with you though. It's like, I wish we knew that information.
It's not 1962 here.
Because again, we don't want to accuse anybody. We're not accusing anybody. We're just curious because I think all of us want to know if.
Look what he's saying. If you did call randomly, I was thinking, That's exactly right.
But if you randomly called in, they'd say, we can
You gotta
tell
be careful.
we can't tell you that because that's exactly right. So I think, look, I'm saying in defense of the family, was their time wasted? Was nobody relaying information to them from the Pima County Sheriff's Department, the first deputy on scene? I mean, did he go, I mean, these people are crazy and there was no EMS here, but did he tell them that? There was no ambulance, there was no EMS. And then
Here's
Dolly was there when the helicopter came in. I know. And didn't they say there was an 80-something-year-old woman and it was right out of where Carlos was detained? Does somebody remember that? And then all of a sudden it just disappeared. Like, no. Police can search their phones to see if the hospital was called. HIPAA is only patient information, not looking to see if hospitals were called. Well, no, I was saying Annie and Tommaso said, or Savannah relayed in the interview with Hoda,
start calling hospitals.
that Annie said, or Savannah said, or I guess it was Annie said, I called the hospitals. Well, then I'll call the hospitals. Like Savannah
what's the
said, did you call
difference?
the hospitals? My question is, hospitals, plural, why wasn't that part of
I think the
the
police can
conversation
handle
of, I tried to call the hospitals, Savannah, but because of HIPAA laws, they said that they can't give me any information.
But
And
again, you've got police officers sitting in there. They can tell you real quick if anyone was brought.
but
They make
that's
one call.
Glenn, hello. That's
Okay,
my
here's
point.
Desire's idea.
Preston said in
She's
30
now telling
seconds.
you.
Oh,
In my opinion, I think this got out of hand. Almost feels like a female took her home. An argument was going on. Something tragic happened, and people started to not think straight.
I wondered the same thing. I thought
I feel
I thought maybe an accident
Wait, what was that
happened.
last part?
The
I feel a male was setting. Oh, it cut her off. Well, yeah. I mean, if the
my
family's
problem with
involved,
the
but I don't know.
well, no, wait a minute. She was saying like maybe there was an accident that happened.
Yeah,
So
things got out of hand, is what she said.
well, but then how does that explain the reconnaissance on the 11th? And now we know it was, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but Google Nest came out and said that the still picture was from the 11th or from early January is what they said. And then they completely erased it. They recanted their statement and took it offline like it was a literal statement. And all we hear is cleared. Everybody's cleared. Yeah. So there was somebody there on January 11th. And we now know January 11th because isn't it coincidental that Nest takes it down, says there was somebody there that still picture was from an early January. And then, oh no, I don't know what they're talking about. No, we never said that. We never gave that information to them. And then what was it? Not even 48 hours later, they're canvassing the neighborhoods and the neighbors are telling the live streamers, they're asking us if we have any footage from January 11th. Then duh. It's because that picture, like Google said, was from earlier in January. So to me, I don't think it was an accident, whatever happened. Yeah, my gut, what? Or maybe they weren't aware of her pacemaker. We have no timestamps. Well, I think that is absolutely on purpose. The no timestamps on those photos. I mean, I feel it is. I feel that's absolutely
exactly,
intentional.
Patricia. Hopefully the family had that worked out because she was ambulatory.
Jody.
What?
I think it was a plan to scare her into assisted living or something, but it went too far. Jody.
Come on, I don't believe that.
Well, I mean, we're not accusing anybody. This is just we're
This is what I
spitballing
mean. It takes me
ideas.
a week later when we find out that's what happened. Then I'm like, oh,
But
okay.
I mean,
That could be.
that is very, very interesting. What if she was missing way before the February date and she was missing more like closer to the well, Sikorsky, I think they have video evidence of her in the Uber. And so that's my theory, because a lot of these Uber drivers get pictures of people before they get in so that they have proof.
I would like to see that video. What was her mental state? Did she have anything on her face that could have been bleeding before all this?
Don't we all?
Oh, also going back to
But wait a minute.
the tips on someone's desk that solves this, they just don't know how to find it yet.
Well, with the Uber driver, to your point, like, okay, we've got the facts that she was in the Uber. They've checked it out. They verified that. So I think there's video proof. If not video, then at least a photo, because I think a lot of Ubers are doing that for safety reasons for themselves. It's the CYA, right? Like, what if the old lady croaks in the car? They need proof that it was an accident or it just happened. So I think that's proof. But my question is, why is that something that's withheld from the public? Why would that be like part of the investigation?
I think that's why
Are we running into time? No, we're
people
okay.
feel
So,
that there's
okay.
kind of a cover up.
Which tells me that some kind of cover up is going
Yeah,
on. But
exactly.
is it cover up or is it just holding evidence like super tight to the vest, so to speak? That's our driveway alarm. It just means somebody's coming up the driveway. I just don't want people thinking that we're getting, a home invasion. I'm wondering if, because there's been so many leaks, I mean, let's be honest, we have a lot of information that we probably shouldn't have. And because the scene was not locked down like it should have been, we now all know what the blood looked like too, which I think is totally not good.
Went to Mater's house. Mater's
What?
and Tater's house. Patricia, she calls
So I
them
feel like there's been,
Mater and Tater.
oh, I know, I love it. I feel like there's been too many leaks. So maybe they don't want us to know what she was wearing that night. Maybe they don't want us to know what color watch she was wearing. Because you know how people have their Apple Watches and they change out the
Yeah.
bands, and maybe there's something specific about what she was wearing that they've got to hold tight, because to somebody else's point, like, what if somebody was lying in wait in the
There's a
home
lot of people saying the family
and she never
was a
got into her
cover-up.
dang pajamas?
Do you know that?
What?
It's almost a consensus now that people feel that the family was involved and it's some sort of a cover up by them, not that.
Allegedly.
Yeah, and I don't know what I believe.
Well, I think it's because, again, I'm going to say this.
Crazy.
Humans are naturally curious, and humans naturally care for other individuals. I think that's an innate thing to keep other human beings alive at any cost.
Misty's right. Like,
and for us,
how do we know they're telling the truth?
Not have evidence to clear someone in our own hearts and our own brains feels, it's none of our business. We've been told by law enforcement all the time, it's none of your business. We've got a case to solve. We've got a case to prosecute. That's our only goal. Our goal is not to keep me, Mary, the hypothetical neighbor, Glenn, you guys involved and informed. But having said that, I feel like it's very irresponsible to not clear the family logically and with physical proof for us to let it go, because I feel like there's already been threats of lawsuits. There's already been all sorts of things. And it's like, well, then give us something that we can chew on that we know that is absolute fact. Oddball here, no family, no cover up. Okay, what do you think? Analyze that, Doug. Now I want to know, because
you always have really good things,
theories,
and I feel that way too. I just can't get my head around Mater and Mater. What is it? Mater and Tater having anything to do with it? Maybe, I don't know.
I used to get lost coming home from school when I was a kid because of my curiosity. I remember having cops come and find me. Oh my gosh.
What?
Yeah, we're naturally curious. And some of us go beyond there. So
I got lost.
I don't know if you want to throw out your theory. Go for it, man. I want to hear it, though. Exactly, Sikorsky. Like, we need to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah.
I just
change clothes. I know. This is,
what?
So many good ideas.
That weird of a theory. I want to know. Yeah, everyone's saying, Doug, we want to know.
That's it. You're up. Call in, Doug. Get on the link. Call in and tell us the deal.
We won't show your face if you don't want us to show your face.
But we want to see everybody's face. I don't know why.
Yeah, but maybe some people are embarrassed.
Oh my God, look at us.
I mean, I know. I'm sitting here with freaking Invisalign and my hair.
Is it really that? Is that the brand you did?
Yeah, it's Invisalign. It's driving me nuts. Yep, have a few times, LOL. The lawsuits are just a way to keep, but anything to keep my teeth from grinding.
If anyone has had Invisalign,
Patricia,
call in and tell us what we can expect going forward.
My inside of my lip is raw. I've got quite a few non-family theories. Doug, see, you can't do that. That's like those people that go online and go, I know I need
Come
prayers,
on.
but I'm not telling you what for. Like, don't do that to us. We want to know what we're praying for. Like, tell us what's going
And
on.
literally, nobody really knows the deal. So anybody's theory can sound crazy and actually be what has happened. Because I keep going over, like actually we were at my mother's in Kansas City
Like
over
Pastor
July
Jennifer's
4th.
sister. That's how I
Well,
look.
call and improve it. So
Well, now I want
we'll
to
see you in a minute, Adam. We're gonna
Yeah.
watch you guys.
He's going.
We got about 10
He's
minutes.
got 10 minutes.
Yeah,
10
he's got to
minute
go
countdown.
show prep. Well,
What
he's
if
been doing that for days.
allegedly a cover up with government officials, but for what reason did Nancy know something for Savannah and Nancy was eliminated?
Yeah.
I just don't think Sikorsky, I just don't think this was political. I feel like if it was politically tied to Savannah, it would have been a lot more swift and severe. And I think it probably would have been her children or her husband. I mean, I know that's a lot
All
of
right,
people's
Doug.
theory.
Everybody's wanting you.
Call in, Doug. We need to know.
We'll make you famous.
Please. Okay.
100
Yeah,
people.
pretty please. People are saying, please. I don't think it was purposely. I think probably years of built up resentment. If we're going with the theory that it was potentially someone very, very
Yeah,
close, let's put it that
right.
way, to her, I think that could be, I think it could have been jealousy, resentment of Savannah, and also religious ideologies with her mother. And I think sometimes parents don't realize, I'm going to give some grace here. I think a lot of parents have their children's best interest at heart. And that means with compliments, with discipline, with
It's
all of it.
interesting, desire. Yeah. There's another one.
But I also think that sometimes parents don't realize when they're dishing out the compliments heavily onto one child versus the other. And even when you're in your 50s, you're still your mother's child and you still want their approval and compliments, whether it's about your hair, your outfit, your life, and maybe there could be some resentment. I don't know. Bloody Harlem being one,
Oh, sorry.
uranium and national security, Einstein and Virginia Stalker. Okay, I'm gonna have to screenshot this. What? Doug, I've not heard of any of these. Like, I'm feeling really uneducated.
You can rewatch it later. It's going to
Yeah, I'm
show the
gonna have
comments
to.
now when you rewatch.
Okay. Yeah, but all those people were at someone else's house at the time. Very convenient.
Hmm.
I'll make you famous. Yeah, maybe. I don't like that, Sikorsky. I don't like that at all. But I guess, I mean, any theory at this point is valid because I don't think we.
Well, here's the takeaways of this show.
Yeah. Because now we're.
They already know who did it. They already know who did it. Or it's in a tip called in on one of the 4 doors, the tip line, online, one of the offices, and they just haven't got to it yet, or they've discarded it, not realizing it was it. Hopefully it's just they haven't got to it yet.
Right.
The second thing is go on Patriot Pride's YouTube channel and watch some of his old broadcasts. Because some of if you know Adam now, like you know him from watching him on his current stuff, him and Mike, the barbecue stuff is fantastic.
Yeah,
I love watching cooking shows anyway, but they're just because it fast forwards through that. It's nice. And go order the barbecue sauce and the rub. That's the takeaways.
Oh, it says they're going on at 11?
What? I thought it was 10 minutes. I think he just said 10 minutes. Yeah, but that would be
10 o'clock our time. Well, no, she's saying.
I don't know. Adam, I thought you were going on at 9, which is
9 Central, 10
Eastern.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Thank you, Misty. She said we're so much fun. I heard of Amy Hilliard from Patriot Pride Live. It was one of his guests. I looked it up, missing without a trace, also medical issues. I've heard that name as well. I don't know. I tell you what, any of you that watched the Springfield 3, it's gotten a little creepy over the last 24 hours. We've had some
I almost wish we hadn't done that show, but I'm so glad we did because meeting Stacy was really neat. She's like friend for life now, I think.
Okay, he's saying 10 Eastern. Okay, so he is going on in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, a lot's happened since that episode. People contacting us directly, and it's chill bumps. I mean, it's not that there's anything that could solve it. It's just hearing some of the facts behind the scenes. there's a possibility, I think, that we could get Stacy and maybe a couple of the other friends
We're hoping.
on.
I mean, if any of you are interested, it's a very, it reminded me, and that's kind of why I wanted to share it with you all, of the Nancy Guthrie case. It's how does an 84-year-old woman just disappear with no trace? And how does that happen when we actually have a picture of the freaking person at the front door? Like, I don't understand. And I'm sorry, I'm getting passionate about it. It's just, that's ridiculous. I mean, I would know if that was my kid behind that ski mask. There's enough identifiables, in my opinion, in that video to know who the heck that is. Somebody knows who it is. I mean, he could have been at the grocery store, you know, a million times, or you saw him come into the library, you saw him come into your business. You would know that that's Sam or whoever, you know?
Yep.
And that's what's bothering me about this is, look, he's got a mask on. I get it, but I would know that that was my kid. So there's a bunch of family members, there's a bunch of friends that know that that's their friend. That's their son, that's their nephew, that's their cousin, and nobody has called. And you know, the Springfield three women vanished out of their home at 2:30 in the morning, and they have no leads in, or I don't know. They're calling it not a cold case in 34 years. They're saying it's still an active case, which to me says maybe they are still getting leads. And I just kept saying, look, I'm the same age as those girls were when they went missing. They were 18 and 19, and now they would be my age, 52. So I don't know. I feel like somebody is old enough now to go, okay, something was weird. I need to say something. So
I was trying to find that
anyway,
picture of them, the high school picture. I've got to find it.
the yearbook picture.
Yeah.
Well, don't show my picture. I only showed that to her.
Oh,
She was like, my
no.
husband kept making fun of my hair, Stacy, when she came on to talk about it. I was like, girl, we all had hair that looked like that. It was a little bit of this and a lot of that. I mean, I think every girl had Aquanet in their bag. So
Oh, well,
a lot of the Venus flytraps is what I called it. Yeah, we're coming, Adam. She watched Savannah Church online. Tomatoes and potatoes are Wiccan. My mom was big back this, always fussed to make sure my soul was saved. It used to drive me crazy, and I miss it deeply now. I know. Is that true? Do we know for sure that they're Wiccan? Because that's very interesting. Oh, she said she typed something and it said error. Too many smoke screens. I'll be there regardless. Yeah, I know, Sikorsky. We're like running on 3 minutes to
There's
get
the
over to Patriot Pride. But
freakiness.
I can't thank you guys enough for joining us. I did want to play one thing before we leave. I feel like when we talk about heavy negative things, the first show we did something funny or something patriotic because it was Patriotic Pride and it was 4th of July weekend. So I called or I wrote the owners of this video, and it's their music. And he was like, thank you so much, and absolutely use it from YouTube. So he gave us permission to share it. And it just made me happy. It's actually their cover of the AC/DC song Thunderstruck. It's freaking hilarious. And I just had to share it because it's awesome.
I was stood in the middle of a railroad track. Looked around and I knew there was no turning back. My mind raced and I thought, what could I do? And I knew there was no help from you. Sound of the drums beating my heart. The thunder of guns tore me apart. You've been thunderstruck.
Hey guys, this is Steve and the Seagulls, and they're awesome. They're actually out of, I think it's Sweden or the Netherlands. I think they're out of the Netherlands. They are awesome. And people have gone crazy for this. So anyway, I just had to interject that. So check him out, Steve and the Seagulls. And he was so nice and said, yes, share it. I think this has had millions of views.
I was shaking at the knees. Could I come again, please? Yeah, the ladies were too kind. You've been thunderstruck. 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 Thunderstruck.
Side note, we came from Texas, so Dallas Cowboys. And Thunderstruck is their signature thing that the cheerleaders do with the line dance, with their leg kicking, and it's awesome. So it just made me kind of laugh. I was like, I can't imagine this version playing at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium with the cheerleaders doing their Thunderstruck routine to it.
I could play the anvil, I think, on this.
I mean, aren't they awesome?
The banjo.
You've been thunderstruck.
Okay.
Thunderstruck. Thunderstruck.
All right.
Thunderstruck. Say yeah, it's alright. Here, you'll be fine. Yeah, it's alright.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that awesome?
I couldn't help
I felt
dancing
like
the whole
we
time.
needed something to kind of take us all down a notch, make us happy. I want to do a feel good something at the end of these videos that we talk about heavy subjects. So thank you all for joining us. We're so happy you're here. Thanks for joining us in the TBX studio in the Ozarks. And didn't that feel kind of like Ozarks music?
Yes. Please like and subscribe and get your friends that are liker and subscribers to like and
We would
subscribe
love more
too.
people to join us in our chats and join us live.
We love you guys. It's amazing what's happening. So
Yep.
we're gonna
Thank you
figure
so
this out.
much. Yeah, like, subscribe, and share. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you Saturday. For those of you that want to join us, we're going to be here for an open discussion. It can be on Nancy. It can be your other cases. So when
Open mic night, but you can actually come on with us. We'll do like whatever they
we
call
want
a
to do a
panel.
panel.
So if you need to be ready for that, just be ready for it. Saturday night,
Yep.
8 o'clock
And we'll see you
Central.
at Patriot Pride. So
Bye,
we'll
guys.
see you later.